Welcome to the Challenges of Change, the podcast where we explore the transformative journey towards self-improvement and personal growth. I'm your host, Laura, a mindset coach in the health and fitness industry, here to guide you through the hurdles that life throws at you. And welcome back to another episode of the Challenges of Change. And I am super duper excited today to have my cousin joining us, Mary Hawk. She's actually my cousin on my husband's side, so I got to inherit her, which makes it even cooler because I got this totally awesome family that I just married the right person for. But Mary and I instantly connected over our shared love of health, and for every interaction we've had, it's just been so easy to see her passion. So I thought, why not have one of these conversations for everybody else to hear so you can really capture some of the key takeaways that Mary and I have both taken on our journey. So Mary, thank you for being here. I would love for you to tell everybody about yourself.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Laura, for having me. I'm very excited to be here. This is my very first podcast. So, I'm very excited it's with you. So my name is Mary Hawk. I am a 45-year-old midlife mama. And I just, a few years ago, I was just feeling kind of sluggish and had put on some weight. I was a stay-at-home mom. My kids were getting older. I just found myself in this place in life where I was looking in the mirror and I'm like, who are you? Like, you don't look the same. Like, you don't have little kids anymore. Like, what are you doing with yourself? And I came across this program called the Faster Way to Fat Loss. And, after, looking at it a couple times, I decided to give it a try. And, 6 weeks into the program, I lost weight. I had gained confidence. People around me were noticing it. My husband was like, wow, you are a totally different person. And I couldn't not share it. So I became a coach and now here I am, teaching women what I was taught and, just transforming their lives for the better, health-wise, mentally, emotionally, everything.
Oh God. Yeah. I mean, I think I had the privilege of meeting you right when you started becoming a coach at Faster Way. And so I never really saw the unidentified version of you. But one of the things that really clicked for me was your awareness as someone who is, teaching health in the impact on the mental. Because when I started as a personal trainer, I didn't completely understand that. And I think that's something we both have always, connected on in terms of our ideology around living a healthier version of you. And you said something that I'd like to kind of capture. You didn't feel like yourself. And part of that was, you had 3 young kids and now they're not so young. And so it was like, I was in that zone for so long and now you're waking up to like, wait, I'm a little bit out of that zone. So who am I as an individual? And it sounds like, the Faster Way program and getting involved in that was really the key to opening those doors for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. For so long, I was a stay-at-home mom. I identified myself as like taking care of my little kids. And, that was just my role. I was taking care of the house and cooking. And that was what I did. And, I had just sent my oldest off to college. My middle daughter, she was in her senior year of high school. So those two were basically like, my son was gone. She was basically gone. And then my youngest was in middle school, that age where they start to just kind of pull away a little bit. And I'm like, what am I going to do with myself? Who am I? So it was just a really pivotal time in my life where I was like, oh my gosh, I have time for me now. Like I can focus on me. Obviously I'm still there for my family in the ways that they need me. But I majored in health science. I've always been interested in health. And so, like I said, I was looking for a purpose. I needed help physically to get myself back in shape. And it all just kind of, the timing was just perfect.
That's so organic. And I love that. Just how intuitive you were through all of that. So I feel like health is one of those very generalized words. Are we talking physical health, mental health, emotional health, spiritual health? And we're even going to be using it. And for the sake of right now in this specific question. I'm talking about like all of the pillars of health, like mental, emotional, physical, spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say the value, now that you've reconnected to that health, what value has that really brought to your life?
It's so like I said, I'm a stay-at-home mom. A lot of my friends were the breadwinners in their family, and I just always felt like I was just a mom. I was just like, it never felt like
Mm,
it didn't just seem like, you know what I mean?
I
So,
do know what you mean.
yeah. So, when I found this, the confidence that this program, like, first of all, physically, I felt really good about myself, probably in the best shape that I've ever been in my whole life, because I found a program that my body responds to, and I reached my goals. So that was so secondary to everything else that came. Like, I found confidence in one, helping other women,
Mm,
having friends ask me like for advice or questions, turn to me, signing up and, coaching them. And just feeling like I had a purpose, like I was praying. I was like, please, God, like I need direction. I need guidance. And just the fact that he put this in my life when I needed it, it just completed me. It just completed me. It made me feel whole. It made me feel like I did, what I was doing did matter. Um, I'm trying to like describe, it's just hard. Like I just felt like I finally had a job.
yeah,
First of all, I had a job because, being a stay-at-home mom, nobody thinks that's actually a job, which it is. But
it
like I
is.
had a job, I was getting paid, like I just felt more respected, even
Mm,
though that sounds like ridiculous, but I just felt like, people respected, like I said, I know a lot of women who have really big jobs, corporate roles and whatnot, but, I finally felt like I made it. Like I was, as silly as it sounds, like that's really it, and it affected me. Like I said, my confidence just went, like it skyrocketed.
yeah, and it honestly it makes total sense to me because a lot of it does sound silly. Like I think any mom who's listening is like, yeah, I don't know how people don't think this is a job. And I've actually seen comical things on social media about like interviewing people, but not telling them it's a mom's job and telling them all the responsibilities and how you'll never have a
Hmm.
break, you'll never have a day off. And they're like, wow,
Right.
oh, and by the way, you don't get paid. And they're like,
Right.
why would I want this? It's like, no one would do this job. If they're like, actually, tons of people do this job. And it was all
Hmm.
about moms. So like,
Yeah.
unfortunately, there are a lot of unspoken narratives around being like a stay-at-home mom
Hmm.
and what that entails. And it's not uncommon to lose an identity. And I think it's really awesome that you found way to like make you feel whole and connected to you again, but also to help and share that with other women and help them like see beyond that. Now, I am
Hmm.
not a mom, but I know for me, when I think of the value of health, I, when I first got into this, I gravely misunderstood all of the pillars. Like I was like physical health. Yeah. And like that was pretty much it.
Right.
And when it's sad and I laugh at it because I don't want to feel sad about it to think about how mean I used to be to myself and how evil I used to speak to myself and how I used to shame
Hmm.
myself
Hmm.
based on where my body was. And I was tormenting physical health or tormenting mental health to try and get to physical health. And I had to learn like, no, that's not how we do that.
Right.
Like that's the diet mentality. That's the willpower muscle, but it always ends up bouncing you right back where you end up gaining and binging and
Hmm.
going through that whole shame cycle again.
Hmm.
And it really helped me, like becoming a coach really expanded my understanding of what health really means. It's not just one thing. It's all of them. Like you can't be physically healthy if you're repressing your emotions and increasing the inflammation in your body constantly. Or
Hmm.
if you're disrespecting yourself, also increasing the inflammation in your body. So it's like
Yeah.
we are so interlaced through all of these health pillars. And I don't think a lot of people understand that because so many of us were taught to repress so many different things that we just look at physical health sometimes as the avenue to earn that sense of I'm good enough,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So on your journey through your experience, when you have someone who's kind of like a former version of me, just focusing on the physical, how do
Mm-hmm.
you help them understand the importance of the other elements of health?
Yeah, like I say this to my own kids, like you need to love yourself first. You're like, you spend 365 days out of the year with yourself. So what you say to yourself, again, I've seen this on social media as well. What you say to yourself, your body doesn't know whether it's joking or not. So like if you're having a conversation with somebody and you're putting yourself down, your body doesn't know that you're joking. Like it hears that, it takes that in and it responds to that. Like it is so important to have that, self-love, have grace for yourself, be patient. Everybody's on a different journey. So, I just tell people like start where you are. Do not compare yourself. Compare is like so evil. It is just, it's horrible and everybody does it. It's natural. We're all human beings. So it's, I try to first get people in a state of mind to one, accept where they are, love where they are, and that's okay. Like there's nothing wrong with where you are. And just do what you can because this is not a sprint. It's a journey. Our health, it doesn't end until the day we die. So there's you're not too late, just start where you are. And I promise you over time, you will see results. You will see progress, whether, if you start now, in 2 weeks from now, you'll be 2 weeks better than you were today. And then 2 weeks from then, it just keeps building. But like, I just try to encourage them to not compare, to start where they are. And it's, one of our mantras is progress over perfection. It is not perfect. None of us are perfect. Like, if you saw what I ate this weekend, it was not perfect and that's okay. Like it's also shifting our mentality so you don't feel guilty and think you have to starve yourself now and then the whole beating yourself up starts and then the shame and all that. It's just such a cycle. All those pillars have to work together. So, you deserve the love. It's okay to not be perfect and just start where you are and build from there.
And now you all know why I wanted Mary on podcast, like all of that. But like, yes, to so many levels, like the acceptance piece of it, like self-love is like the overarching journey of health, right? Like if you love yourself, you're going to support yourself mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically is the idea. But if we don't accept ourselves, we're literally withholding love from ourselves saying, but when you get there, then I'll love you. But I can't love you as you are now. And it is the hardest message to get across to females,
100%,
in my experience. Yeah. I'm not certain with males as much, but I'm sure it's their own challenge as well because we're taught that you're lovable when you perform. And the way to heal that, the real way to transform all of it is to accept where you're at and revolutionize how you understand health and how you move through health to not make it a perfection journey, accept that it's not going to be linear. And when you compare, because it is one of those like you can't help it things, don't compare yourself to others because others are going to have different body styles, different stressors, different stuff that is impossible to look at. Well, they're doing this and I'm doing this. Why isn't it working for me? A million potential reasons, but I like to use comparison, like you from today to you from yesterday and being curious what you notice as wrong, if we want to label it in quotation marks as wrong, but just why do I feel uncomfortable with the fact that I have the cinnamon roll? Like it was Father's Day. My dad loves cinnamon rolls. I want to connect with my dad on Father's Day. Does that mean now that I'm unhealthy? No, it's not a either or. So I really think being more curious and compassionate, like Jesus Christ, we are mean to ourselves and we really need to learn to just have some compassion for ourselves to build. And that's one of the things that I've always loved whenever we've talked that is like, I'm pretty sure I just interrupt you as soon as you say it because I have such a hard time like containing my own passion, but like I want to get there too. I want to lose the 10 pounds now. I want to step on the scale and see the thing like everybody else does.
Mm-hmm.
But our desire for that doesn't change the reality of what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And our urgency to it. Why? And that's what I love about what you said. Like, okay, once you get to your goal, congratulations. You're, 6 weeks out, you lost 20 pounds. Now what? Like you still need to continue being healthy. It's not, a diet has an end date. A lifestyle is a way of being that honors and respects your health because you love yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And another thing with the Fast Away that it taught me, it has taught me so much. Prior to this program, I had tried all like the fads, the diets, cutting out carbs, low fat, the running, even though I hate running and I've never ever been a runner. My body I would run because that's what I thought I needed to do. Like I tried it all. But one of the things that the Fast Away taught me was something we call them non-scale victories. Like it's not all tied to the number on the scale. It could be that you're sleeping better. It could be that you're in a happier mood. It could be that other people notice you just seem more confident. You just have a pep in your step. I had a woman last year, one of my first clients, she was just like she's like, one of my friends who I haven't seen in a long came up to me and was like, you look different. She's like, I don't know what it is, but you look different and you look good. Like there's non-scale victories that if you attach your victories to a number on a scale, they will be deemed unimportant or, and it's so, there's so much more than the number or the scale or the 10 pounds or the 20, whatever it is, like non-scale victories. A win is a win, whether it's big or small, and you need to celebrate all of it because you are working on your body and, any progress is progress.
Yeah. And I love the whole like progress over perfection. Like you take the words out of my mouth and like, I think it's like I use the word revolutionizing your understanding and relationship with health because I really think that's what it is. Because every magazine, every fad diet is going to tell you like, no, you need to go this way. And that's not the case because there's a reason why certain diets work for certain people and why they don't work for others based on your body style and how so many things work. But I like to even zoom out further because, I was an athlete and I broke 9 bones throughout my athletic career. And I'm also not a runner. But the last bone I broke, I remember driving home from work and like I lived in Chicago. I would drive right along the Lakeshore Path, beautiful view. And I would see all these people running and I'd be like, oh, I just want to run. I don't like running. I don't. And I remember when my foot was healed, not wanting to run. And I lived there for another 6 years and I ran one time on that path. I'm pretty sure it was just because I wanted to say that I did it. But what I do remember so vividly is how frustrating it was not being able to pull my pants up because one of my arms was broken, or how frustrating it was having to crutch around the city. And it's very easy to look at how you can't lift certain weight or how you're not getting the physical progress or scale progress at the rate you want. It's very easy to look at what isn't working in the way that your brain wants it to work right away.
Yeah.
But it's much harder and much more rewarding to remember what the purpose of your body is. It's not to look a certain way. It's not to be anything for anyone else, but to represent a vessel for you to move through your life and create connection and memories and value in. And, I had a session with a client on Friday who it was a picture of her and her sister she was showing me. They had a great boat day and all she could talk about was her thighs. And I was like, do me a favor, put the picture down. What was so great about that day? And she told me, and I'm like, now look at the picture and say it. And she's like, I can't. And I'm like, you're literally robbing yourself of joy in your life. You're robbing yourself of memories and connection because you're prioritizing shaming yourself because you were taught not to love yourself. Like, is that how we want to do this? And
right.
she's like, no. And I'm like, it's okay that you don't like how it looks sometimes. I'm not going to like how it looks all the time either. But do you want to allow that to steal these precious moments, because I guarantee one day you're going to look back and wish you could do that differently.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's really important for people to understand and hear, like, so many of us where we are now will look and be like, I'm not where I want to be. I wish I was where I was 20 years ago or 10 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if we rewind the clock and think back to when we were 10, 20 years ago, we wish we were someone else back earlier in our lives.
Right.
And that means if we fast forward 10, 20 years from now, we are going to be worshiping our current body, and we're stealing that from ourselves. We're stealing the opportunity to appreciate what our body does for us,
Mm-hmm.
just so we can perpetuate a shame cycle.
Yeah. It's like, it's never enough. Even if we set that goal for 10 pounds and you reach it, there's going to be something else that's going to keep you wanting more, keep you from being happy, keep you from celebrating what you accomplished.
Right.
There's never enough. And, like you were just saying, I love that. And I posted this several times on my social media, where you are now, you're going to wish you were in 10, 15, 20 years from now, because we always, I've said the same thing, although like I am in the best shape I am now. Like, I'm like, oh, back in college, like 20 years ago, 25 years ago, I'm like, so I'm trying to flip that mindset to, I want to be just as strong, if not stronger, 10, 15 years from now. And it's not too late. You can still build muscle in your 50s and 60s. It's just knowing what to do, what to eat, strength training, prioritizing protein. You just have to be taught how to do it, because our bodies are so different than they were in their 20s and 30s. But it's still, you need to just appreciate what you have now and work towards building a healthier future than keep looking back and wishing you were, where you were 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, total agreement. And I think this is something we've talked about offline, is something Peter Attia talks about, is like, rather than thinking about, what you could do 10 years ago, think about what you want to be able to do in the last 10 years of your life.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be able to get on the ground and play with your grandkids. You want to be able to hike. Like, what do you want to be able to do? Okay. If that's what you want to be able to do, then what do you need to train your body for now?
Mm-hmm.
And like, I literally had a conference in Omaha a couple weeks ago now, and I'm really good at stuffing everything in my carry-on bag because I hate checking bags. Don't know why I have a problem with it, but I totally do. And I could almost guarantee you that carry-on is over 50 pounds. Like, when I say I smash stuff in it, like, I'm sweating zipping that thing up. That's how much I put it in. And I remember lifting it and putting it in the overhead bin, and my thought was, oh, it's kind of heavy this time. And the first thing I wanted to do when I got to the gym the next morning were snatches, which was literally like throwing the weight over your head. And on my way home with the same suitcase overstuffed with a bunch of stuff, I felt empowered. I felt strong. I felt confident. And like, I didn't gain a ton of muscle in 3 days to make it. And quite frankly, I probably didn't make it any easier on myself, but psychologically, it did have an impact. And that's the point, whether it's statistical or something you can see on a scale, or just the felt sense, like, this is our one lived experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And change is hard. And I get that, but it doesn't have to be as hard as we make it.
Yeah. I was at a conference in February, and one of the speakers said something that was so profound. It was like, if we're lucky in our lifetime, we get about 4,000 weeks to live. And right now I'm about halfway through, like, depending on, whatever. So it's like, how do I want to spend my next 2,000 weeks? Do I want to just sit where I am and just say, oh, well, this is what happens in midlife. You put on weight, you slow down, you just kind of let yourself go. Or do I want to say, like, no, like, I'm going to get myself in shape so that I can play with my grandkids on the ground, so I can lift my suitcases and carry in my groceries and take the steps and not, there's so much, there's so much you can still do. Your life does not end because you hit menopause or perimenopause and your body changes. You still have so much so much life to live, and, you can live it to your best abilities, or you can accept it and just, kind of get through the rest of it.
Get through. I mean, yeah, like, is that how we want to live? We're just going to get through it. No,
Right.
I mean, maybe I'm not going to speak for everyone. That's not how I want to live. Like,
Mm-mm.
I don't understand. And I have a beautiful role model in my mother who, I mean, if you witness the two of us, you would think she's younger based on how fun she is. I'm like in bed by 9. She's dancing on tables. Like, it's hilarious how the roles have changed, but it only becomes impossible when we stop trying.
Yeah.
Like, you only die when you stop living. So like,
Mm-hmm.
it's never too late to start. And I think the journey needs to get away from, I want to lose X amount of pounds. Like, I think it needs to shift to, I want to show up for myself. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's like really like something that's always resonated in your kind of initiation back into this is like, I didn't feel like myself. And I had this history with exercise that like was very organic, and it just kind of took on a life of its own, and it found you. And
Mm-hmm.
through that, like your first win, you didn't tell me about how much weight you lost. It was how you started to feel confident and how like your husband noticed and the people in your life noticed.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a different but similar experience where like people just started to notice that I was more secure. I was more confident in
Mm-hmm.
my own experience rather than like dressing in what looked like a garbage bag because I felt a little bloated that day. And
Yep.
I think it's not so much about losing weight. I think it's understanding that's the cherry on top, so to speak, but
Yep.
recognizing the journey is about showing up for yourself, reconnecting with yourself, building yourself up, making yourself a priority where you can feel good too. And I think
Mm-hmm.
too is a really important word in that because like you're a mother. And a lot of moms, a lot of the messaging in society is like you have to sacrifice yourself to be a mom. And I think you can show up as a mom and show up for yourself. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
that it's either or. And I think it's really important that it's okay if you're struggling understanding how or what that looks like, but it's never
Mm-hmm.
too late to start. And just one little bit, like go for a 5-minute walk. Like that
Right.
alone is more than you did yesterday.
Exactly. Yeah. And at the same time, especially, with moms, you're setting a great example for your kids. You're setting several great examples. One, it's okay to take time for yourself. It's okay to prioritize yourself. You're taking care of your health. You're showing them that you want to be there for them as they get older. You want to show up for them. You want to be able to be there and celebrate and do things with them. There's so many, you're setting examples of what to eat, with Faster Way, you prioritize whole food nutrition. I still have, I just had nothing but cake over the weekend. I still eat what I want, but what I'm eating consistent, like my kids see that, like my youngest, he would send me pictures of bowls that he's made with like salmon or tuna and cucumbers and avocado. He'll like take a picture, be like, Mom, look what I, so like, whether they're older or younger, they're watching, they see you. So there's so many, you're doing so much good for yourself and for your family by setting such a great example.
Yeah. And oh my God, I love that he sends you pictures to be like, look at my bowl, I'm doing it. Like that's so freaking cute. And I might add, because I don't think moms necessarily think about this all the time, but as a non-mom who one day hopes to be a mom,
Mm-hmm.
it is terrifying to think that being a mom means I have to lose myself.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing moms who are showing up for themselves, you're not just teaching your kids, you're
Mm-hmm.
also inspiring moms that are growing into that stage that it is possible to matter amongst that. And I don't know
Absolutely.
if you have that perspective because it's been a minute since you've been a non-mom, but as a
Mm-hmm.
non-mom, like I have clients who show up and we talk through them showing up for themselves and how it's hard, but like I have regularly told them how it inspires me and gives me a lot of hope that when I embark on that journey, I will be able to be a human being who matters and who has needs and who can take care of herself and be a badass mom all at the same time.
Yeah.
Which
Oh,
I do plan on doing.
absolutely. Yes. Without a doubt. No question.
So
You
just
will.
in case you didn't know that that transcends outside the family as well.
Yeah.
Small. Um, but I do think like that's how we change generations. And I think it's really, really important that we're modeling as best we can and compassionately with ourselves, because our world is changing. Like the food industry is really, really different, and nothing pisses me off. And I'm not really going to get into it
I
because
know that's a whole other conversation. Oh my gosh,
I'm right. I'm not going to get into it, but nothing pisses me off as much as what the food industry is doing, because it has people who are trying, be that moms or not, like people who are like, okay, this is what the government says I should do. And they try to do it and they try to do it and they fail and they fail and they fail. And they think they're doing something wrong. No. And like, that's where I think having health professionals who are out there who truly have your best interest in mind, like Mary, is necessary to like expand as our culture is changing, so we can actually advocate for ourselves and be the voice of change that helps our children know how to navigate what's only going to be continuous change in the food industry.
Right. And not in the right direction either, unfortunately.
Right. So we need to go back to farming.
Seriously, like let's go back to just natural, organic, whole. It doesn't need to be modified. It doesn't need to be, processed. Just stick to whole foods.
Yes. And, there's one other thing that you said today that I really wanted to emphasize, which is imperfection. You had cake this weekend. I had a cinnamon roll. It was delicious. What flavor?
Enjoyed every bite. I had lemon. I love lemon. Anything lemon. I'm a big lemon fan.
Very nice. They have this vegan cinnamon roll place here where you can like make your own cinnamon rolls. I had caramel icing with Cinnadoodle cookie dough bites.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
And cinnamon toast crunch on top of that.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
So why, in a talk about health and the value of health and the importance of showing up for yourself, should we celebrate and enjoy our favorite little treats we had?
Because that's life, right? I mean, we are meant to enjoy life. It's so funny because I'm coaching 2 women right now, and in my round we track macros, and I asked them to send me screenshots so I know that they're staying on track. And I told them, I said, I'm here with you. Like, so I sent them mine. Like, it's an accountability thing. I hold them accountable. They hold me accountable. But this weekend, like this morning, I sent them my macros from the weekend, and I'm like, look, guys, I know I'm a coach, but I'm a client, and I'm also like a mom and a wife, and yeah, like I had a margarita, and I had a bundt cake, and I had pizza, and I had a burger. Like I want to live life. Like this is supposed to be sustainable and realistic. Like to deprive ourselves of these foods that we love is just not going to last.
No.
So like, yeah, this, it's what you do 80% of the time consistently. That other 20%, enjoy whatever it is that you enjoy.
Absolutely. And I love going over favorite unhealthy treats with clients because they think you're supposed to be perfect with it. And lifestyle is not about deprivation. Deprivation always leads to the binge, but moreover, one of the things that I've really noticed is after I had that delicious cinnamon roll, and it was worth every calorie, every bite, and I may have licked the box and no regrets.
No regrets.
Do it again. And I loved it. And the next day I did not feel great. I didn't feel horrible, but I didn't feel great. And you know what I wanted to do? I felt motivated to eat healthy. I wanted to work out. And that was one of the things when I recognized it was transformative, because I used to be like Monday through Friday, perfect. Well, Friday afternoon, then Friday evening to Sunday, I would binge, right? Feel horrible about myself. Then Monday, recommit to perfection until I expended my burnout or my willpower muscle. Now I always have something that is what I refer to as a balancing meal, probably on a Wednesday. And it re-motivates me for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday because I crave feeling good.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. It's so funny you said that because I had a training this morning with these 2 ladies, and I told them about that bundt cake that I ate, and I said, and I enjoyed every bite of it. I said, but I have to be honest with you. Afterwards, my body was like, what the heck are you doing to us? Like, cause it was a lot of sugar, more sugar than I'm used to eating. And it was delicious and I enjoyed it. But it's just when you train your body when you switch your body from processed foods to whole foods, your body craves that. Like I actually crave dried apricots or mango or, like I actually crave those things versus the sweets. So I definitely enjoyed it, but my body was like, what the heck? Let's go back to the other thing. And that doesn't mean I'm never going to eat it again. Like I could never live without pizza. That is that would be my one meal for the rest of my life would be pizza. And I would never give that up. But yeah, it's so funny when your body adjusts to eating clean and you feel so good on the inside and outside. It's like, what the heck?
Oh yeah, 100%. And I'm also a pizza person. So like my desert island food is totally pizza. Yeah. However, I've learned that my body likes pizza at lunch more than at dinner. And if I eat it at dinner, one of two things happens. My stomach gets real rumbly and painful, or I end up needing to eat more things because I didn't meet my macronutrients, right? Yeah. And I've noticed that. And literally when my husband has asked me, like, do you want one of my favorite pizzas from Chicago heated up on like a Friday night? I'm like, no, but let's do that at the pool tomorrow. And he's like, come on, can't we do it for dinner? I'm like, you can have one of yours for dinner, but I don't want one of mine during the day because I've learned I can enjoy it and when to enjoy it. And I think that's what we both share is like the increased awareness around how food affects you, how you feel when you're eating differently, how you feel when you're moving differently. It's not about the scale, but the benefit of caring about how you move, caring about how you feel, caring about showing up for yourself. The benefit of that is when you do the things, it naturally helps you lose weight because no one feels better eating processed food. No one does. Right. Like 100%. Biologically in our body, it like revolts it. But it's the consistency. And I am absolutely going to have pizza and a cinnamon roll. Like, you will never take those two things away from me. And I'm perfectly okay with what that means and how that looks because my body isn't a definition of me. It is the vessel I go through my life with. And I want it to be strong and I want it to be functional and I want it to be healthy. And only I get to define what that really is.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better. Exactly.
So as we, kind of wrap things up, first and foremost, like I'm so happy we actually got to capture it like in podcast form because I feel like we've had these conversations so many different times non-podcasting. This is fun. And I really hope that everyone listening can hear that like it is so freaking possible and like loving yourself there is the way to do it. And Mary's program, which I am going to give you an opportunity in just 1 second to tell everyone about, is a beautiful way to really kick yourself off with like a group that's going to support you and help hold you accountable. So Mary, I'd love to give you an opportunity to kind of tell people about Fast Away and where to find you and kind of what that would look like.
Yeah, sure. So first of all, I'm on Instagram at MaryHawk_FasterWay. You can find me there. But yeah, the Faster Way, so it starts out as a 6-week new client experience where I coach you and we have weekly trainings, weekly question and answer Zooms. There's daily posts that are put into a private Facebook page. And if you're not on Facebook, I also have there's other forums I can use to communicate with you. And I teach you all the strategies that I learned that got me the results. There's intermittent fasting, tracking macros, hydration, carb cycling, and our workouts. They're 25 to 30 minutes. They're very quick and effective, and they are intentionally paired with the macro day. So they are meant to build muscle and burn fat. So, and it works. I would never become a coach if it didn't really work. I could never try to sell or, teach other people this if I knew it wasn't going to work. But those strategies are so key to finding success. And just like another, besides the physical, I have had clients lower their A1C, lower their cholesterol. They reduce their visceral fat, which is that deep fat around your organs that causes disease, long term. It's just, there's so many benefits besides losing the weight.
100%. And if you don't follow Mary, I am going to have her Instagram in the show notes so you can easily find that. But you definitely should follow her because just everything you post is motivational and inspiring along the way. And just DM her. What were you were telling me about the diet worksheet or something?
So yeah, it's an anti-diet guide, and it's just education about the program and just shifting your mindset from that all or nothing diet to progress over perfection. And also in the anti-diet guide is a 5-day sample meal plan of that's the other thing, the Faster Way provides meal plan. It's suggested, you don't have to follow it, but it's real food. There's no prepackaged food, no supplements. It's just real whole food. So there's a sample meal guide in that as well.
Well, if you guys don't want that, I want that. So I'll DM you separately, but definitely DM Mary if that's something you're interested in. And just, I guess for me, the main thing I want you guys to take away from this is that you get to define your own health. You don't have to listen to what the magazines say about, what you need to do or how it should look, but actually get to know your body and what works for your body. And that's why Mary's program in the Faster Way is so impactful, because it's not a one size fits all. It's here's a bunch of different tools and options. Let's see what works best for you so you can really learn how to take care of your body for the rest of your life, because health isn't going anywhere. It really isn't. So, definitely reach out to Mary. And Mary, this has been so fun. Thank you so much for coming on.
I've loved being here. Thank you, Laura. I had a great time. So fun.
And thank you all for listening. And I really hope that you can get some takeaways from today. Reach out to Mary and be sure to tune in for our next episode next week. Thank you for joining me on today's episode of The Challenges of Change. If you're ready to stop stressing and reclaim your sense of worth, be sure to visit my website at www.changebychallenge.com. There, you'll find loads of resources, blog posts, and information on how to work with me, Laura, as your personal mindset coach. Remember, if it doesn't challenge you, it won't change you. Don't let burnout or any other obstacle hold you back from living your best life. Take the first steps towards positive transformation today. Thank you again for listening. Stay confident, stay inspired, and embrace the challenges of change. Until next time.
Thank you for joining me on today's episode of The Challenges of Change. If you're ready to stop stressing and reclaim your sense of worth, be sure to visit my website at www.changebychallenge.com. There, you'll find loads of resources, blog posts, and information on how to work with me, Laura, as your personal mindset coach. Remember, if it doesn't challenge you, it won't change you. Don't let burnout or any other obstacle hold you back from living your best life. Take the first steps towards positive transformation today. Thank you again for listening. Stay confident, stay inspired, and embrace the challenges of change. Until next time.